everybody. This is Ron Hoon from Fox 10 in Phoenix, and we wanted to get a look at how things are really looking on the ground in Italy. As you know, this is a nation that was hit extremely hard when the virus first came to Europe. And Giulia Pagliari is joining us this morning. She is a tour guide in Rome. And so, Giulia, good morning. First of all, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, this time was perfect. Pagliari, Giulia Pagliari, yes. Hi,
Okay.
Ron.
Good morning. So
Good morning, everybody.
we have you set up at one of the most famous sites in all of Rome. And so I thought to start with, you could just sort of show us around. Tell us where you are and what you see right now.
Yes, I am in front of one of the most incredible monuments here in Rome, the Trevi Fountain. Of course, you can see it behind me. It's one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city. And trust me, that it's very strange to see this square this way. Maybe, Ron, you remember that when we toured this place together with Live Italy, there was so many people, it was actually impossible to see the monument itself. So, of course, it's a completely different situation now. But trust me that till 2 weeks ago, there was seriously nobody. So to see someone coming back to the streets, it gives us so much good vibes, a bit of positivity. So, of course, we are super happy. It's a completely new world, the one we experienced since lockdown actually was a bit eased, but still we can appreciate the outdoors life.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Well, you know, it's right. You're right. I first met you when I was over there on vacation, my wife and I, and we went on a walking tour with you, and it was so jam-packed at the world-famous Trevi Fountain, which it kind of surprised me. You're just walking down, it's almost like alleyways, you know, little cobblestone streets, and then you come around a corner and boom, there it is. That's the first thing you say to yourself. The second thing you say is, wow, look at all the crowds that are gathered here. So in other words, it's gone from about a week ago where it would have been a complete ghost town to still sort of a strange sight just to see it as quiet as it is.
Yes, of course, because since this Monday, restaurants, shops, churches, they reopened. So it's only 4 days that we started, obviously, to get back to normal life somehow. Many shops, especially in this place of the city, they're still shut down, they're still closed. Because this is an area that lives thanks to tourism, and so with no visitors, of course, many people, they decided to stay closed because eventually, if they open, they have more expenses than income. So it doesn't really make sense. This is the big problem of the city center of Rome. The tourism industry, it accounts almost 30% of the Italian GDP, and so these are the activities that they are suffering the most, for sure. Like mine, like Live Italy, like all the other companies that work in this sector. So still, it's good to see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is what I am saying.
Sure.
Because honestly, this lockdown was so long, and it was marked by the speeches of the Prime Minister, who basically every time had the lockdown stretched for other 2 weeks. So since we heard the last announcement that was about reopening and restart of international travel, that will be hopefully on June the 3rd, of course, our perspective changed. Finally, we started to plan our activities again. So, yes, it's true. It's strange to see the city like this, but trust me that it's much better than 2 weeks ago.
And so from what you're hearing, around early June, some international travel will be allowed, and then hopefully the tourists resume their travels to Rome. So, Julia, I thought maybe what we could do is have you walk around the streets
Yes, I
and
will,
just
and I will
kind of
show you
flip
the
your
city.
camera around, yeah, and
Yeah.
show us sort of what you're seeing and
Yeah.
what it would normally be like, and whether in fact some of these tourist locations
Yeah.
would,
Yes.
obviously, I guess they would all normally be open at this time, but it's still pretty quiet.
Yes, absolutely. Especially in this part of the city, as I told you, the situation is like this. First of all, because it's typical in Rome to have very small solutions. So like many cafes and restaurants, they're very small. So for them, it's almost impossible to respect the new hygiene regulations and social distancing. And again, it's an area of visitors, of tourists, and also offices. And because many people, they're still home working, they don't have customers till now. Obviously, you know what? The situation is evolving, it's changing almost every 2 weeks. So we hope that, of course, it will get better and better sooner than we imagine.
Yeah.
Also because yeah.
It is really, it's kind of shocking to see the way it looks right now. I'm remembering when I was there in December of 2018, and every one of these cobblestone streets would have been packed with tourists, and all the businesses would be open. So while some of the famous sites are available for people to see, now the McDonald's has got to be open. As an American who likes to have an occasional Diet Coke with some ice, McDonald's is always the place you look for. So at least they're open. But other than that, there's not a lot.
Now I take you to this side road, a bit closer to one of the nicest shopping malls in the downtown. It's, imagine a shopping mall that was designed in 1921. So it's amazing. It's like Liberty style. Okay. And I show you how it works now, the access to the shops, because of course this is a shopping district in Rome. So basically there's a person at the entrance with a thermo scanner. You see them like in blue uniforms. Okay. So if you want to get inside, you will have temperature checked. And if they say yes, you can go in. And so this is how it works in all the shops, also the big department stores in Rome.
Are you able to walk in there right now? Would they let you, do you think?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I should be fine. So let's do it.
I do. So I remember this shopping mall. Because all you have to do is go a couple of blocks in Rome and you're at some other famous site. It seems like there's a column or something, a famous old column. Maybe we can see that in a minute, but here are the security guards.
Yes, exactly. So you, okay, so I have to use the back entrance. So I show you how it works.
Oh, okay.
Because this is the exit. It's interesting because in all the stores, all the shops, they put marks on the floor. So that's one way to go in, one way to go out.
Sure. Yeah.
It's the same thing they are going to adopt in many museums and sites. They still have to announce the official opening day of the Colosseum or the Vatican museums. They are installing thermoscanners. Of course, you have to go inside equipped with a mask. And they are creating a kind of design text, so you will follow the guide. And you know the Colosseum, I mean, you went to the Colosseum for sure here in Rome. In 2019, we registered almost 7.4 million visitors. And now they will allow the entry of up to 600 people a day. That is just a tiny fraction of what commonly it is. So
I just want to make sure that
strange.
Oh, there's the famous column. Okay, now before you go in, tell us about that column. That dates back about almost 2,000 years, right?
Yeah, true, absolutely. This is one of the two memorial columns that we have in Rome. This is the column of Marcus Aurelius, and it's an incredible memorial of the war that he won over the Germans. If you could scroll this altar relief that goes all around it, it would be long like 2 football fields, and it represents every single moment of this military campaign. It's an incredible source of information about military strategy of ancient Rome. It's amazing, and it stands here since the 2nd century AD.
Wow. Okay. So again, that would be another plaza where you would see.
Absolutely.
I remember, you know, I was kind of geeking out because I love history and I'm like taking this picture and that. Normally you would see a lot of people there as well. Are we sort of in the area where there's some government offices nearby as well?
Yes. Yeah. This like palace with the flags that you see is the headquarters of the Prime Minister of Italy. So this is that's why you see, of course, all the police cars around it. So this is obviously a focal point in Rome, and commonly it's packed of people going around. Also, like by here, by this road, you see like taxi parked and waiting for clients, for customers, and obviously also the taxi drivers that are suffering the situation.
Sure.
Like all the tourism sector in general. We are launching new types of activities, but of course they cannot really replace real tours and real experience here in the city.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to have you. Looks like you're kind of heading into the more into the shopping mall now. So for the most part, we have to assume it's just a handful of local people who, you know, would be otherwise, you know, just going about their day in Rome, because boy, it is still very quiet.
You see, now they just scanned my temperature, and
is that what he was doing? Okay.
Yes, exactly. So now I am inside. This is a place that commonly in this time of the year, it's like pretty warm in Rome now. It's almost the summer. Yeah. And so because it's the only area with air conditioning, it's commonly packed of people who try to refresh themselves for a while.
Right.
And it's also, of course, absolutely elegant. It's amazing, this place. But as you see, there's no one. This is a library, and you can obviously go in cleaning your hands with the sanitizer, then they give you gloves. So obviously everything is more complicated than before. But you see, like, for example, here on the floor, all these marks, they give you like the direction you have to follow to move inside.
It's like they're ready for the people, but the people just haven't come yet.
Absolutely, this is the point. Also about vacations, the government is obviously aiming domestic tourism for now, because it might obviously make up some damage. Problem is that we don't really know, we cannot predict how people they will feel confident with traveling in a short time. I have a lot of friends who told me that they're planning to rent a house with a pool, and that's it, because of course also beaches, they are reopening. But the point is that you have to respect the same rules you have to respect here in the city. So imagine to go to the beach and to keep like 1 meter distance from the other person. You cannot use the showers, all these things. Of course, it will be less enjoyable. And maybe this will sound strange to you, but sorry, I'm coming back because I lost my mask.
Uh-oh. I've got to keep that mask on. Where'd it go? It's okay. Oh, it's purple. That's good. So, Julia, as you head outside, I'll let you kind of wander wherever you want to show us next. But while you do that, if you would just kind of walk us through the timeline of how quickly it hit in Italy and what life has been like for the average Italian living, whether it's in Rome or other parts of the nation, for the last several weeks up until as you say, the first phase of reopening happened just the other day.
Yes, absolutely. Everything started March the 8th. And honestly, in 2 weeks, everything changed because they closed everything, every business, productive activity, sports events that have been suspended, the universities and schools. And the big problem was that they came to forbid every type of activity outdoors. So they closed also the parks. So basically, it was almost seclusion for a long time because it was 70 days of lockdown.
70
and this is
days.
maybe what we suffered the most, that we lost the freedom to walk outside. Also because in Italy, part of the life is conducted outside. A big part of our life is conducted outdoors. So that was seriously strange. We could go out only with a document proving that we needed to leave our places for emergency reasons, like, for example, to work or to help a family member in need. So there were so many controls. That was also the point. So people felt, of course, that this was good for health from a health perspective, but the lockdown was almost too long from an economic perspective, because many businesses are still now risking to die. So it's changing now quickly. So also this last announcement, it seemed that it didn't really fit with what we have done for so long. Of course, we were waiting for this decision in a long time. So it's absolutely good that they took it. Actually, we wanted this. But it doesn't really work, with all the sacrifice that we have done for such a long period.
Well, I want to give you, I want to give you a chance to kind of catch your breath almost. I mean, although you spend every day walking around Rome, just to kind of wrap up, what are the sites that are currently open in Rome, and what do you hear of? I mean, we all think, of course, about the Vatican. We think about the Colosseum, some of the most famous sites anywhere in the world. What's currently open, and what do they figure will be opening soon?
So now they had reopened all the civic museums, Colosseum and the Vatican museums. They will reopen in a few days. They're ready for reopening. They just opened on Monday the St. Peter's Basilica, because also churches have been closed in these 10 weeks of lockdown. So, for example, now to access the Basilica, it means you have to go through thermoscanner again, and you go you use an idol to go one direction to the bottom and then the other one to leave. So you cannot really stop by the chapels, like, I don't know, to see the Pieta by Michelangelo. It's a bit different than before.
Yeah.
But you see now, for example, this is a shopping road, and you see that it's changing. These are, of course, all flag shops, big brands. But I mean, finally, you see more people around. This is what I was saying, that we are back to normal life. And we are also receiving good news. I know that it's not that long. It's only since Monday that changed. But for now, the number of the contagions didn't increase. So this gives it gives us hope, of course, about this decision. And so I hope that it will continue this way.
I'll have you flip the camera around so we can get a couple of final questions in with you before we say goodbye. So how are somebody like you? You make your living with these walking tours. Normally, you would have tourists every day. So you're kind of doing virtual tours. Tell me how that's going, and how can people find one of your virtual tours online?
I work most of the times with Live Italy, that is my company, and we are organizing virtual tours with them. They're kind of like talks, easy talks. People, they can make us questions. They can, of course, interact with us. And we just launched a new type of experience, walks around the city now that we can go outside. It's almost what we are doing together now. So the guide with the selfie stick and the camera, and while we walk, we explain the city. They work well, especially for people who always dreamed to come here. Because it's a very good way to prepare themselves for this vacation, to know what they will see. So,
especially a lot of us Americans who right now just are not going to be going to Italy, even though that's obviously for people in our country one of their favorite places to go, for sure. So go ahead and flip the camera around so we can say goodbye to you.
Yes, I will.
There you are. There's Julia again. So what would you say when people come to Rome? And of course, right now, most people are going to be doing it virtually through your company, the Live Italy. But for people who someday actually are going to actually go to Rome, what for them, I love to ask this question, Julia, what is their biggest surprise? I mean, you generally are walking and talking with people from all over the world. They come to Rome, you show them the sights, you tell them the history from the perspective of Julia Pagliari. But what's the biggest surprise or the biggest takeaway that people have from their first time in Rome?
But they will be surprised to feel that life is not enough to enjoy Rome, to visit Rome. So Rome makes you thirsty. You want to come back here because there's always something more to see, to explore. And it's the same also for us who live here. I have a list of 2 pages of sites I have to see, even if what I do all of my life, like all of my days, is to visit museums. And it's never ending. And also that you can travel in time, like Back to the Future, Back to the Past, in every single angle of Rome. So there's nothing that was built in one place. And it's so fascinating.
Yeah, and my wife and I, when we were there, we gave ourselves 3 days in Rome, and I remember thinking I could have spent 30 days there and not seen it all. And here you are saying you've lived there your whole life and you haven't seen it all. So,
yes,
Julia, thanks for your time today, and I hope that as things slowly get back to normal and we get past this pandemic, that the streets of Rome will once again be very busy.
Yeah, we miss it so badly. We miss you coming to visit us because Rome is a place of like people coming from all over the world, and it's not the same without tourists and guests. So I hope we'll back on track like we did last year very soon.
Very soon. Okay, Julia, thanks for your time from the streets of Rome.
Thank you.
Bye.
And so, bye.
Or ciao.
Oh, ciao. Yeah, ciao it's more appropriate, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.